SMT Nation, we back. Nation, T-Mobile's dropped this news here about like 5G network slicing and these future use cases of 5G and all these things. The carriers, AT&T, Verizon, that's going to be their future of their new revenue streams with their mobility network and those types of things. But we haven't really seen anything take off, and we continue to see T-Mobile push for these types of new use cases and how do they monetize their 5G network. And they're positioned well with lots of spectrum and kind of being ahead with respect to standalone 5G networking in their core. Those types of things are ongoing. So they obviously want to monetize their network in as many new ways, getting new types of customers in as many ways as possible. All right, so this article does a really good job of highlighting some of those challenges, where the industry is as a technology standpoint, and what this means for T-Mobile. So I'll be sure to link the article for you here. Daryl Skular, a contributor to Fierce. I'll be sure to link that for you in the description, and ways to support the SMT in the description as well. All right, so the 5G networking piece, right? The most interesting component that we've heard up to this point with respect to features and capabilities is the network slicing as a tool, right? What companies can do with their network if they slice. Well, let's take a look at what 5G networking looks like in the near term and the long term. Let's start first with what companies, enterprises, and businesses want. Well, according to Recon Analytics, friend of the show, Roger Entner, 54% of business respondents said mobile network operators were their first choice for purchasing end-to-end security services. Of that 54% group, 25% said they were very likely to consider end-to-end network security from a mobile service provider as a factor in switching from the current mobile provider. And then 29% of that group said they're likely to make the same consideration. So you have likely, you have very likely with respect to network security solutions from their ISPs and broadband providers. So there is a demand here, folks. And what T-Mobile did was T-Mobile decided, let's utilize our network slicing capabilities on our network to provide a security solution. Right now, specifically what they're talking about is this new security suite or feature known as SASE, right? SIM-based SASE, which utilize their network slicing tool. They'll use static slicing to support the service, right? Not the dynamic slicing that we've kind of expected from the carriers, but it will be supported in the core network with best effort spectrum allocation between the radio and the end user for these purposes. Now, I want to mention something here. The interesting thing about this is a security feature on the nation's most insecure network provider that has continued to be hacked and jeopardize and compromise customer information repeatedly, seemingly unlimited amounts of breaches. All right, now with respect to implementing the network slicing, what we were expecting, right? Multiple dynamic network slicing working seamlessly and flawlessly through their radio access network technologies, like things like prioritization and things like specific lanes within network cores and things of that nature. But that's just simply not there, and that's just simply not available. Nor do we even know that's what companies need. Right now, it seems to be a security piece. So T-Mobile seems to have positioned themselves in the area and the arena that companies are interested in. But it sounds to me like if it's going to be a networking piece, they're more interested in a private network than they are a network slice, unless they're building something specific to the security piece. So Verizon probably knows this, AT&T probably knows this, and T-Mobile has made it abundantly clear that they are approaching this. So a couple years ago, I remember having some discussions with a contact within the Death Star, with AT&T, and they told me there are 3 things that businesses, enterprises want from 5G. And the number one thing they wanted was security. So, T-Mobile knows this, AT&T knows it, and so does Verizon. And I think having a private network makes it more secure following a 3GPP protocol whatever the case may be, that's where the frontier of 5G will be. Creating more secure networks, zero trust. Shout out to the Bearded Dragon. He knows all about this. We've talked about this on podcasts, on Patreon and such. But that's kind of where things are. So what you're going to be hearing from T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T in the future, it's really going to be an emphasis on security. They're going to try to bring in some other things, but that seems to me like that's what the enterprise cares about. What do you guys think? Have the carriers put all their eggs in the wrong basket and now having to bust the U-turn? They were focusing on capacity. They're focusing on all these cool new features when really folks want security. Sound off in the comment section below. You are the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.